Hi, this is Neve Arthur, the stay-at-home family, and I couldn't pay rent last month. Now that's something that if you know me, you might find kind of shocking. You might be thinking, hang on, last month you earned $16,575 with your blog, and I know that because you told us. and that's true. And I do need to point out that that's not necessarily a typical income in blogging. I've become extraordinarily successful at it. So why couldn't I pay my rent? Well, I'll get to that in a minute, but what it brought up for me was remembering what it was like to be entirely controlled by circumstances. And when you're controlled by circumstances, you literally see no other possible way to live in your outlook on life, in your view on life. You know, I remember a few years ago now going to rent a place because the place I was in, someone else was moving in, I had to move out, and between a deposit and first month's rent, I actually couldn't pay the first month's rent. And it was a Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The real estate agents were going home at 5 for the weekend, and I was about to be homeless for the weekend because they wouldn't give me the key. I said, okay, you know, in a week or so I can pay rent. And they went, no, we won't give you the key until you fully pay the amount, which, you know, was fair enough. I didn't really know what I was doing. And I remember that panicky feeling. I remember checking my bank balance and going, this won't work. Well, what's going to happen? Oh my God, I'm going to be homeless. And I made some calls and I begged some people and I borrowed and made it happen kind of in the nick of time. And then I remember another situation where we were driving about 40 miles away from home and our car broke down. The radiator exploded, burst open, and we had no money to get it towed home. We literally did not have enough in the bank account to get a tow. So we hobbled our way home, going on country roads back by farm fields, going a few hundred feet and then pouring the water bottle into the radiator. The water bottle I had on me because I was pregnant at the time. I always had morning sickness, so I always carried water, and I cried the whole way home. Or remember the time that we went to the grocery store with these big bags on our back. We walked there because our car was still broken down. We had no money to fix it. And filled up a cart full of groceries only to realize there wasn't enough money in the account to pay for them. And we walked home with nothing in the pouring rain. And I actually had to laugh at that one and go, wow, this is pretty much as miserable as it gets. And in all those circumstances, I remember simply feeling completely out of control, a victim of circumstances that I was never going to be able to change, and the people who had changed obviously had some kind of mystical, magical, special thing about them to create change. But what eventually did create change in my life was when we decided to stop being victims of our circumstances and to start being creators of what we want to create. So our attention shifted from what was going on around us that was incredibly painful and difficult to what we could create from where we were. You know, that didn't necessarily mean we had a ton of money to start a business, so we had to find a business that didn't take a ton of money to start up. We had, you know, 2 children by the time we found the business we're in now, and we were focused on doing whatever it took to achieve our dreams. And now, in the last year, we've earned over $100,000. We're an entirely stay-at-home family. You know, as I said, these are not typical results. These are from our focus shifting from what is happening around us to what we can create. Sometimes it's hard because your focus and your attention is on the immediate situation. But when you shift it, when you decide to take action, when you decide to do things a different way, when you decide to follow in the footsteps of other people who've created what you want to create, magic happens. But it is a matter of letting go of where you're at, of simply doing what you need to do, making phone calls when you need to make them, you know, going over to friends' houses for a meal if that's what you got to do to feed yourself. But it really is about being focused on what you can create. And from there you can create worlds. So how come I couldn't pay my rent, you're probably wondering. Well, because we booked a huge trip, and for some reason the booking company accidentally put through a pending transaction and then a second transaction. So they had held double the amount of money. And of course we had expected one lot of money to go out. It was being held in the bank, and I was logging in to go and pay my rent and went, oh my gosh, they took double. It was a matter of simply a couple of phone calls, a couple of irritating long hold periods, and it was all resolved. And I didn't go into a panic or anything. I just remembered, gosh, do you remember what it was like, Neve, when you were a victim of circumstances? When you didn't feel powerful? When you would have folded up and started crying at something like this, instead of just simply lifting the phone and taking care of it? Because you become more powerful as you create what you want to create in life. So now I want to invite you to make a choice. To choose you, to choose your future rather than your current circumstances. Because they're changeable. But they're only changeable when you make the decision that you are going to focus on what you can create from where you're at. Now, if you want to know exactly how we did it, now's your chance to make the decision to click the link above or below this video to find out more about exactly what we do and how we became the stay-at-home family. And I welcome you to lock arms with us, to lock arms with people who've done already what it is that you want to do now. So click the link, watch the video on the next page, and I will see you there.